Welcome back to another episode on Oak and Rock Fatherhood. I am your host, Zachary Small, joined by Anthony Migliorino, co-host to the greatest thing to hit fatherhood since, I don't know. Anthony, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Everything's good, man. Enjoying life, enjoying being a father, as always. Excited
You
to
know,
talk to my man Tex today.
exactly. I was going to say, I love the patriotism we have going right now. We got flags behind you, flags behind me, flag behind Tex. Speaking of Tex, we've spoken a lot about fatherhood, but
Yeah.
the phase after that is when you're a father, you have the opportunity to become a grandfather. And we've never had that discussion. But Tex here, I'm in a workout group with Tex. We're in a channel together. We're crushing it. And he's one of the ones where he says, don't ever let the old guy beat you. And it's one of those things where you look at him and there's no old energy. He's not one of those guys in a rocking chair. He's literally walking around with hex bars, sitting on a rower in the middle of the day, getting after it. So Tex is one of those men. We go back years. We've done speeches together. We've done podcasts together. We've done a lot of work over the years together. One of the OGs of Men of March. So we go way back, and you'll find content on the Family Alpha. You'll find content through the stuff we've done with FOE. But now we've got him on Oak and Rock to talk about another aspect of his life that we don't really dive that deep into, or we haven't publicly at least. And that is being a grandparent and how you can be the best damn grandfather you possibly can. Because as men, we want to be strong men, strong husbands, strong fathers. Well, after that, a strong grandfather. There is no end to this. And so with that big grand entrance, Tex, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Really glad to be here. You talk about
There's
that workout.
nobody more appropriate to sit in that seat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you talk about the workout group, and I always laughed about that because, I kind of barged my way into that workout group, and all these guys in their 30s and 40s, young 40s maybe, and they're looking at me like, "Can you keep up, Gramps?" And probably not, but I'm going to try. I don't want to be the weakest link here. Let's go.
When you came in, that's actually literally how it happened. Hey, what are you doing? What are you talking about? I went in. Do you keep up? Oh, fuck yeah. And all right. That was some like life-changing moment. Literally inserted and said,
Yeah.
I'll do this. And then kept with it. So let's talk about that. Why did you go on such a program?
I knew I knew where you guys were headed, and I felt like this was my last chance. That I've done a bunch of stuff over the years. I was in good shape when I was younger. I got into really horrible shape when I got into my midlife 30s and 40s. And I bounced around several times trying to, I got knocked to the bottom here. I bounced around several times trying to basically get it together and never could figure it out. So eventually just went ahead and jumped in and figured this is it. If I don't do it this time, it's not going to happen. Adjust my camera here to make up for that. Okay, there we go. So I just wanted in, man. I figured if this doesn't work, if I go in there, so I give it all my all, I stick to the macros, I do the food plan, I do the weights, I do it as prescribed by a professional because I don't know obviously what the heck I'm doing. So go ahead and get some professional help here, and it either works or it doesn't. Either I'm going to be fat and out of shape, or I'm going to be in shape. One or the other, because there's no in between. So.
I think now's a good time to give a shout out to Phil Foster.
Oh yeah,
because all three of us are on the training program. All three of us are taking the supplements. All three of us are getting ourselves locked in with the man. So you can find Phil at philfosterfitness.com. He's the trainer. And speaking of all three of us, we're all in the group. The trainer, the leader. He has the hormone system that he's running, so to monitor your hormone levels. He's got the supplements. So if you go to philfosterfitness.com, you can find all of that plus his training program. And if you buy into that with the one-on-one training, you get access to the private group, which we're all in. So you can be mixing up with the three of us, but that's where we're all getting after it. And Tex, I was wondering, how did that play into your home life? So you made that decision, like, you know what? I'm going to stop being mediocre, because you weren't obese at that time when you jumped into the group, but you also weren't what you are now. And so how did that change impact everything?
Yeah, I mean, I'd lost a bunch of weight and I'd gotten in better shape, but I wasn't, I didn't have as much muscle mass as I wanted. And, I don't know. I just didn't, I wasn't satisfied with where I was at. How does it work in the home life? I mean, my wife and I are living by ourselves here now with a dog, right? So, I don't know. She tries not to give me a big head here, and talk too much about, and don't go there. And as far as, props for losing weight or whatever, but she has made a lot of comments about the dedication, about the fact that I'm not giving up, that I'm out there in the driveway. She goes, "Wow, you just really must love working out." No, yeah, sort of. I just really love the results. you know. And then every now and then, you know, she'll reach up and grab my shoulder or my arm or whatever, and I can tell she's digging it. But it didn't do it for her, you know, it did it for me. So, yeah, it's 2 hours a day, pretty much 6 days a week. Sometimes it's not quite 2 hours, maybe it's like 90 minutes, but it's been nonstop for the last couple of years, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Tex, it's cool to see you go through it, right? Especially as a grandfather, to see you go through the journey and not give up and really focus and work on that legacy, right? How you're going to be seen, not just by your kids, but now you have another generation looking up to you. Besides all the men in FOE who look up to you, but there's and literally and figuratively, right? It's these. It's good to see because, like Zach was saying, we don't see it too often, right? We talk about fatherhood all the time. We're talking about fathers. A lot of them have little kids, and we seem to miss that other part of it. And I talk about it sometimes, right? That I'm going to be a grandfather one day, and I don't know how powerful that is. So, in your journey, when you go through this and you're getting stronger, 60, are you 60 right now?
Yeah, I'm right at 60.
To probably be in the best shape of your life, man. How does that feel? Like to be able to pick up your grandkids and throw them if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's I mean, you want to be able to do things with them, right? You want to be able to go out and have fun with them. When they come down and visit, we go to the beach. We got a gym there at the beach, and we go and the two older ones now are interested in lifting. You know, being able to actually do things with them, and it doesn't hurt that I can possibly make their dad have to step up his game a little bit too along the way, right? But yeah, it was great. I mean, this Christmas he was telling me he's putting together a home gym in their basement, and a hex bar magically arrived, via Amazon, right? And my middle grandson called me up or came back over to the other house, during Christmas. It's like, Papa, you're not going to believe it. So, that bar you were using to lift all that weight? I sent him a video of me lifting some weight. He goes, I got one now. He goes, I can't wait. Let's go. It's like, okay, this is where it's supposed to be. So the kids are on board. My former son-in-law is a big CrossFit guy, and he's at least he's doing something, right? And he's got the kids active, and he's got them going to CrossFit camps in the summer, and they're putting the gym together in the basement. So I want to be as supportive of that as I can. So, if a hex bar shows up or something shows up that they didn't have, that's just money in the bank, right? That's a good investment on the kids, type of thing. So.
It's interesting how you weren't always fit, and you've been open about this, so that's why I'm speaking about it. But your grandkids, you're seeing them now more than ever. It seems like frequently I'm seeing the videos of them, the photos, you guys interacting. They're going to remember this version of you. And that example that you're setting, we speak a lot about the impact a father has. Do you see a difference? Because you have a son. And so do you see a difference in how you and your son interact versus you and your grandkids, or is it the same?
No, I mean, my son's 31. We interact more like best friends these days, which is,
I meant the connection, not the literal interaction.
Yeah, no. I mean, the connection with grandkids is that it's just a wonderful opportunity to try to you get a mulligan, man. You get a do-over. So no matter what kind of mistakes you might have made with your own kids, you get a chance to do it all over again, and you get to do it for in limited burst. That you only have them for so long, and so you just try to make sure you're there for them. You connect with them as best you can. There's just things are different. I can talk to my son on the phone all day long while I'm driving or whatever, and we're good with that. But with the grandkids, they're all about FaceTime. They're all about video chat. I mean, if I try to call them on the phone, they're distracted. They don't talk to me. I got to pull words out of them. But if I do a FaceTime, I'll get interaction, and they'll participate, just trying to find things that they like to do, the things they like to talk about. I mean, just trying to stay connected with those guys. And I may not be answering your question, but it's just kind of off the way I think. Case in point, like when the Mandalorian came out, right? They're big Star Wars kids, and I like Star Wars. So, we're talking about Mandalorian episodes as they were going on. And then we started watching Boba Fett and all this kind of stuff and trying to stay connected to them. Oldest grandson got into, I guess, classic rock. and wanted vinyl albums and a little record player for Christmas. And so, we're spending Christmas listening to AC/DC and Led Zeppelin, and he's picking my brain about what other classic rock to listen to. And so it's kind of like you just got to connect with them when you get a chance, and spend the time with them, because you're not going to get 24/7, for 6 months in a row. You're going to get limited engagement. So you got to make the most of it.
And shouldn't that be the way that we think about fatherhood, right? Why is that just a grandfather phenomenon, right? Shouldn't we be parenting our kids and saying that we're not always going to have this time, so we should enjoy it, right? We should be connecting with them. And there's something missing there that a lot of fathers don't do. And I know it's more stressful. Like you said, you get to hand them off, right? You have them for a little while, you hand them off. But I don't think the mindset should change, right? We talked about how being strong has helped you become a better grandfather. But I think also being emotionally available, being connected, having a good mindset, right? Having some mental fortitude and emotional strength greatly benefits the grandkids as well, right? It's almost, I don't want to say that you're their friend, but you have a connection, right? You have a friendship. That's the relationship. Do you, do you ever have to be in a position of authority with your grandchildren, or are they usually compliant, or do they listen well to you?
They do a good job. We've discussed the rules of the road, like when my daughter will bring them down for a week to the beach in the summertime type of thing. We talk about that ahead of time. Do you want me to do any discipline in here? And she's like, no, I got it. I'm like, okay, then we're good to go. But your grandpa, you can still give them that look, and they calm down pretty quick. And they're just glad to be there. And we're usually doing something, right? We're usually fishing or whatever. If I tell them something, they're listening, because they know their chances of having more fun just go way up if they're listening to what I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, that grandfather mindset, if you can pull that when your kids are in their young years, because you really don't have them that long. Everybody says, oh, they grow up so fast. And you hear that when you're 35. Oh, they're going to grow up so fast. And you've heard it. And it still happens anyway. Before you turn around, they're going to high school. And you're like, where did the time go? Because you're so busy doing everything else. I do have not really regrets, but I do wish I had realized how fast it was going to be. But I mean, I did a good job of staying engaged with my son as far as his activities. He played sports. I was usually in the stands, or I was usually on the sideline taking pictures, or I was even at practices hanging out, way off on the side somewhere where nobody could see me, type of thing. But I was always there because that's what I enjoyed doing so much. And I think looking back at that, I think he's got that good, firm, a good solid foundation of knowing dad was around. And I've always told him, I said, I just want you to be a little bit better dad than I was. I want to be a better dad than my dad was. And so I think he's going to be really good at that. But, could I have done things more with my daughter? Yeah, I sure could have. I didn't. And I should have. I didn't give her the kind of time I probably should have. So that's probably the one real regret that I pull away from all that.
While it's always a sensitive subject to talk about things you wish you had done right. But that's, I think, where many men around your age bracket find themselves. They start to learn these things now, 45, 50, they're figuring out now, oh man, I really missed the mark on that, and that. And so they just feel down. They feel like they failed, or they let them down. How did you process all of that? How did you come to terms with that? And then it seems as though you made the decision to not say, well, that's just how it is. You're like, no, I'm gonna start to rebuild these bridges. I can't go back in time, but I can make sure going forward, none of those gaps are hit again. I can go around them.
We actually talk about that stuff. We talked with my daughter one-on-one about things I did wrong or failed, where I think I failed. And she's like, nah, it really wasn't that big a deal. I'm thinking, we should have done this more. And she's like, yeah, you did. I think you did pretty good. Or my son, I'll tell him something I thought I was horrible. Like one of my top parenting mistakes or whatever. He just look at me and laugh. He's like, Dad, that's the worst thing you ever did. You said you're doing good, type of thing.
How did you start that conversation though? I think some guys now, they want to do what you just said, but they don't know how to. They're like, do I just blurt it out at a party? How do you have that conversation?
Well, you got to take the first step on that. My daughter and I went through a lot of healing in the last couple of years, and and we've had a lot of one-on-one conversations. I drive a lot for work, and I'm always traveling and stuff, so I'm always looking for somebody to talk to. And so lately, she and I are on the phone a lot, and there's been times where I say, I really want to tell you something. I regret that this happened the way it did. And she's at a emotional maturity point right now. She's emotionally mature enough to be able to handle the conversation and to give me some good feedback. And at the same time, we start talking about, the things that she's doing to parent her 3 sons and things that she's learned from growing up in my house that she can apply in her house and anything. It's just, you just got to bring it up, and my son told me something the other day, and it really, it made me feel good. I said something about, I said, I'm not the smartest fish in the ocean. He's like, Dad, you're one of the smartest people I know. I'm like, whoa, that's fun to hear. Right. Hope it's true. But no, I mean, it's it's just like, you get some feedback. They're in their 30s now, man. They're going to tell you the truth. They're going to tell you what's going on. And, but it's going to be up to you to bring it up. They're not going to bring that shit up unless they're in therapy 5 days a week, and their therapist told them to, which means you did a pretty shitty job probably, but hey, let's go. What happens?
And I think that's the power of this text, right? And it's cool that you get to see it through 3 generations now. But there's always a chance to heal, right? There's always a chance to repair and get better and make things right. And I think when you were saying how you talk to your kids and they said, nah, Dad, you did a good job. Everything was cool. I think when you make in the future, when you repair things and you make an effort to be better, I think anything that happened in the past, right, it starts to heal because how you're living now. So the way that you're interacting with your kids now, the conversations you're having, and then when they see that with your grandkids, right, a lot of the bad stuff, not that it gets forgotten, but it gets forgiven. And I think that's a great healing process that, I just picked up from you talking for that's 3 generations now. So, and that's how generational trauma slowly gets healed. We stop passing it down.
Yeah, you just got to try to be a better parent than you were parented, a better parent than you had, type of thing. You try to push that forward. But you're right. I mean, there's an amazing amount of grace that when 2 people can sit down and kind of find out that, what they have in common is generally more important than the small things that they disagreed on. We still don't agree on politics. She and I don't. And we just have a general rule that we don't talk about it. She made some comment, something about Ted Cruz can go freeze in Mexico this week or something. I'm like, hey, Ted's a fine man. And she sends me back the barfing emoji. And I'm like, whoa. I said, don't we have a no politics rule on this text message string? And she's like, yeah, but sometimes it leaks out. And I'm like, well, don't, so we don't talk about that shit. So, you learn, right? You learn over the years. You don't have the political battles. You don't talk about the stupid stuff. And, her friends are all going to go to hell. I can't help that, so what am I going to do? Right. Am I going to bring that up all the time? No. Am I going to bring it up all the time? No, she's into the whole rainbows and LGBT ABCs and all that stuff. And that's her kind of her thing. And I'm kind of disappointed because I think part of that is going to influence my grandsons in a negative way. Because, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, but what's going to influence your grandsons even more than that is the example that they see from you.
Yeah, I think so.
Right,
but you got to have hard conversations, right? I mean, I talked to my former son-in-law, right? They're divorced, right? And I talked to him because in the 50-50 divorce split, he gets to have some control over da-da-da-da-da. She gets controls over education and medical and whatever they set up. But one of them was religion. And I asked him, I said, what are you guys doing for church these days? Oh, yeah, we joined a church when we moved up here. And then COVID hit. We've been doing a lot of online stuff. I'm like, okay. Well, I said, hey, I'll tell you right now, man. So one of the biggest mistakes I ever made, with these kids growing up is that, I allowed us to fall away from the church. And that was on me. And I said, I think we all paid a price for that. I said, I hope you're listening. And he's like, yeah, thank you. And I actually seriously believe that, I got through it to him on that one, so it's going to be up to me to have those conversations with him and her as well, So.
I like the fact that we're talking about fatherhood and you found a way to bring politics and religion into this as well. This is fantastic. People don't like to talk about any of this. No, that's my point. I love the fact that these things could just roll, and it's like, yeah, like whatever. This is no more or less interesting to me than if you were to tell me, here's what crypto is doing today, or here's how you bake a cake. Like it's just like any other freaking topic. Like I really don't care.
If it wasn't Oak and Rock, it would have been the Talk About Difficult Shit podcast. That was the other name.
We were going back and forth. We A/B tested it.
Look at the election of 2016 with Trump.
Oh God!
No. I'm just going to say, it polarized families. A lot of people lost family connections over politics, and some of them regained those and fixed them. But the only way that was going to happen was that we just have a no politics rule. We just don't talk about it. You know, I'm not going to change their mind. They're not going to change my mind. Why are we going to get our blood pressure up? Trust me, Trump doesn't give a damn about my family, right? He doesn't know my kids. He doesn't know my grandkids, you know, and why would I want to alienate my family members just because I happen to be a supporter and they aren't? It's just like, I'm not going to convince her. Eventually they'll figure out that I was right and it'll all be good. But it's, you know, it's
like
spoken like a true grandpa.
I mean, what do you say? Your kids figure out, once they get to be in their 20s, they figure out how smart you were, you know, all along type of thing. But I'm going to interject
for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been wondering this actually for a little bit. Did you know your grandfather? Was he around when you were coming up?
Oh, wow. Yeah, my grandfather on my mom's side was a jerk. He was a tight-fisted, money-grubbing Scrooge kind of dude who had too many grandchildren and couldn't remember their names and was always busy working. And it was always, everything was about money. And I never felt any love from the man whatsoever. The other grandfather on my dad's side passed away from throat cancer when I was about 9 years old. I never really knew him. By the time I met him, and I was like 5 or 6 and could actually talk to him, he'd already had his voice box cut out. And so he was basically burping his words out, which is kind of scary when you're a little kid. And you really can't understand what he's saying anyway. So yeah, my grandfather's, I think one of them was probably a pretty cool dude, but he died too quick. The other one was just kind of a jerk, you know?
Yeah, well, you see, one of the things that it's kind of a trend we keep seeing on here is how this is new age stuff. And everyone's like, oh, connect with your kids. That's this new left-wing ideology they're pushing. And what I'm trying to do is dial it back to, is this something that was happening in families prior to? You know, and if not, why did you ever start the process of wanting to connect with your kids if you never had an example of connecting to you?
Well, I had a good example. My dad passed when I was young. I was probably 35-ish, somewhere in there. But he had a chance to be grandpa to my daughter for like 8 or 9 years and my son for like 6 years. And he set the bar, man. He was all about it. And, you know, Dad had his faults when I was growing up, right, and all that, but he flipped a switch when he became grandpa. He was retired. And it was kind of funny. I mean, we always thought my mom was the one that's organized all these family events and stuff, right? And then when Dad passed away, it just went away. All those things, everybody getting together for the weekend and coming in and doing this and that. And we always thought it was Mom. We always gave her credit for it. Turns out it was Dad. He was the one riding, driving the bus and all that stuff. So I had a good example. So I wanted to be a good grandfather because I know how much my kids enjoyed having a grandfather, even for a limited amount of time. And so then that's the other part of the equation of trying to get healthier and be a little more fit, is that my dad died at 64. I'm 60, right? I'd like to make it past 64 by a significant, margin. I'd like my youngest grandson's about 8 right now. I'd like him to know me, right? Not just, goofy 8-year-old doing what they do, right? So, but yeah, I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. I mean, families used to all live in the same town, right? They used to all, cousins and aunts and uncles and grandpas and grandmas, and every Sunday we'd all get together for a big meal, and go to grandma's house. She's cooking fried chicken or whatever, and everybody has this. That's the way life used to be, and then we all got split up. Everybody started chasing the buck in the 60s. Everybody started taking jobs in different spots, and my grandparents were like a 7-hour car drive away, which means we didn't see them very often, right? And so that was the other thing there, is just trying to stay close to my parents and not get too far away, so that my kids could have a chance at having a relationship with them. So unfortunately for me right now, my grandkids are in Wisconsin and I'm in Texas, which sucks. But I have the financial means to get up there, and I have the financial means to fly them down for the summers, So we'll make the best of it.
Just like you hit earlier, parenting, religion, politics, just now, legacy, health, wealth. Those are the big three: health, wealth, relationships, right? You work yourself to a position where you can do those things. People, money doesn't buy happiness. Money buys tickets to fly my kids to me. That makes me very happy, so positioning yourself there. The health, though, and this is a two-pronged approach. Not only are you able to do more with them because you're mobile, you're not stuck in a chair. You're not too overweight or that you're winded after walking around the house one time. You're able to run and do things with these kids. I see you like picking them up like human kettlebells at the beach. So that's one aspect of your health. Another aspect, though, you will literally live longer.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about legacy here. So how, with the time that you've given yourself, because by working out, you're buying yourself more time. That's how that works. Your body will be strong enough and healthy enough to live longer. So what are you doing with those hours, though, and that time? Legacy is just a freaking word. It's the action behind it to me. So what does that mean to you, legacy?
Oh, man.
Easy question. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to Oak and Rock, baby.
No, I mean, I want to be able to set a standard for my kids, my grandkids, physical standard, spiritual standard, emotional standards. Back when I was 330 pounds, I was a mess. I was depressed. I had a lot of issues that kept me from fully participating in my family life to the point that I could be the best dad that I was. I wasn't being the best dad I could be. A lot of that had to do with just depression, eating and just drinking booze on the weekends, and then gradually in the middle of the week and all that stuff. So the legacy I want to hand down to them is not sitting on a couch on a Sunday watching football all day and drinking a 6-pack of Miller. I want them to understand that we get out and we go do things, and we go to the gym, even if they're there for vacation at the beach. We go to the gym every day. Even if they don't do anything, I don't care. They're just there. They're in there, right? I want them to see that money's not a dirty word. I want them to see that that having money is kind of nice, and it makes things a little easier here and there. And I want them to be motivated to go out and get their own and figure out how to do that. I mean, I want the best for these guys, because the world they're growing up in is a whole lot different than the one I grew up in. And the challenges that they face are significantly different in the next 10 years than what I faced in the 60s and 70s. So how do you prepare them for that? I want them to have the opportunity. So I told my son-in-law, I want them to have the opportunity to decide for themselves about God. If you don't take them to church, at least on a regular basis, they will not get that education, and they will be behind the 8 ball and not being able to make a decent decision because you were lazy. Trust me, that was me, right? So I want that legacy, mental, spiritual, and physical, man. I want the best for all of them, because that's going to be all that's left of me at some point, right?
Just a hex bar laying in the driveway.
I want them to
That's what you
fight
should
over
have.
this.
Yeah. Like your heirloom is the freaking hex bar passed down to 30 generations.
I got this new 80 pound hex bar with these long extensions on it, right? So I can put a bunch of plates on it. And I want them to fight over that. I want them to absolutely have to like arm wrestle and stuff over who's going to get that someday.
Who'd he leave it to?
No,
Dude, I'm coming in hot, just so you know. I'll be wrestling with them. When I saw that, I was taping my 45s in the end. Did you see that when I was going for 462? Yeah. I was like, where did you get that one? You're like, oh, yeah, they sell one with longer arms. I'm like, shit, I should have just bought that.
Yeah, I shouldn't have bought the other one. Yeah, so I have one. I have 2 now. I have one sitting around. So what are you going to do?
Tex, you brought up the difference from the generations. Do you think that your grandkids, the generation now, do you think that they have it easier or harder than when you were younger?
Oh, man. Easier as far as technology and things getting done for you, but harder in terms of dealing with the emotional fallout of COVID, the emotional fallout of race baiting, the emotional fallout that they have to deal with a what at the time was an ugly divorce. There's all these different things that are going on. I think they have a harder time because of technology, because of Snapchat, because of instant thought and everything else, instant access to porn online. There's all sorts of things that they have it tougher on in those regards. Um, I think physically speaking, they don't have it that tough at all, but
And that's normal progression, isn't it? Like
yeah,
you didn't have it as tough as probably your great grandfather, right? Because
absolutely not.
there probably weren't automobiles, or whatever, whatever it may be. There wasn't access to the ease of technology. So there were things we had to do that were more difficult than the previous, the prior generation.
I was up there at Christmas time in Wisconsin, and I decided it started snowing. I found a snow shovel, went out there and started shoveling off the sidewalk, and walkway coming up front. Oldest grandson shows up, no shoes, no gloves. He's got a really small, crappy little snow shovel. He comes out there and stands there, and I said, "Well, you gonna get going?" He goes, "Yeah, Mom said I probably should come out here and help you." I'm like, "Yeah, probably a good idea." I said, "Where's your gloves? Where's your shoes?" He goes, "Oh, I like being out here with no shoes on." I'm like, "Why? So you're not out here for very long, or what? What's the deal?" I just gave him a hard time, but I mean, they don't have it that tough, and I didn't have it that tough compared to my dad and my grandfather. You're right, but I do think I think there's other things that they're going to have to deal with. They're going to have to deal with race relations that seem to be portrayed at being an all-time low, which I don't think they are. I think that's a bunch of smokescreen. I think you younger guys, my kids helped me not be racist back in the back in the 90s, right? I mean, they were colorblind, right? And then all that stuff has gotten so back out of whack. I mean, literally, my kids were colorblind, and that generation, your generation. I mean, and now it's not. Now it's used as a political football. It's used as a divide technique and all that. They're having to deal with that because they don't know the other side. I grew up in a racist little redneck Texas town. I know what racism is. I've seen the damn sign with the colored water fountains on the side of the building. You couldn't use the ones in the front. I've seen that. Okay. My kids brought me through that and helped me to heal through all of that. And then I watched all that progress just get flushed down the crapper in the last 5-10 years. And it just drives me nuts. That's what I'm worried that my grandkids are going to have to face is more of the political divides, more of the race baiting, more of the absolute BS that I see out there right now. And I don't know how to shield them from that. I don't know how to help them make it through that because I'm not totally convinced that their parents have a clue either when it comes to some of this stuff. So unfortunately, they got a little social justice warrior stuff going on both sides of their parents. And so, so they,
Can you describe social justice warrior to us?
Oh, God.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
He just quits, never coming back.
Girls.
I don't think.
Hey, man, girls and Boy Scouts. Come on.
I do have a question on that, though.
Yeah,
you mentioned we were talking about who had it easier, who had it harder, but because you had mentioned legacy and what you're teaching them, do you think that they're really going to be kind of shielded from the hard work that's required to be successful in life because they have you reminding them? I mean, your gift to them is a hex bar. Name one, anybody watching this, drop a comment below. If you sent your grandkids a hex bar within the past 10 years, any grandfather right now, drop it below. If you do, let me know. You're going to get a fucking cash prize. One other grandfather. That's all I'm asking for. I doubt you're going to find another grandfather doing that shit. So they have Tex as a grandfather. Do you think that that's going to help them sort of overcome these things? Because maybe their parents are caught up. I have no idea. But what I do know is I know you very well. And if I had you as a grandfather, there's a lot of shit that I'd be learning that I wouldn't be learning from a grandfather who's maybe still, quote unquote, plugged in.
Yeah. I gotta stay closer to them, man. And I find myself letting the distance get between us a little bit. And I think that here's my goal. I want to be the phone number that they put into their phone when shit's going sideways and they need some advice. I want them to call me. Right. So how do I get from point A to point Z when that happens? That's going to require constant contact constant interaction, even just a goofy text message about the evil black Wookiee in Boba Fett yesterday. I'm texting him, where'd he come from? And they, one or two of them will reply back, and then I ask him a question about, was that Luke's dad that they killed? And they were like, no, that was something else. I want them to have that interaction to the point to where it's just so natural for them to text me or to pick up the phone and call, or FaceTime or whatever. I got to get there. I'm still not all the way there, right? Big distance. Got to overcome that. So.
There are a lot of men, in that boat. And I was wondering if you had a man who's listening to this now, let's say he's the guy who said, oh, I'm too old. I'm 50 years old. My kids are adults. They're out of the house. It's just me and my lady. Why do I need to try? Why do I need to be doing these workouts? Why are you saying I need to start trying to change who I am, to go through and learn all these things? What's your why?
Because you feel better about yourself. You feel better about what you're doing. There's always got to be some kind of a mountain to climb. There's got to be some kind of a goal. If you run out of goals, you die. I mean, how many guys that I know that have retired and died within like 5 years? They've died. They retired.
Can we change the subject?
Yeah, man. Sorry about that.
No, I'm just kidding.
But I know a couple that come to mind quickly that retired. We were working together and we were constantly talking all the time. And then they retired and they quit calling me as much. And then the next time I saw them, it was 2 years later and it looked like they'd aged 10 years. So getting back to your question, Zach, why do you do that? Why do you want to do some hard things? Because, okay, it'd be easy just to sit back and just sit there on your pile of money and, watch the grass grow and do whatever you're going to do. But God, that sounds boring. At what point do you put the gun in your mouth? I mean, how much of that can you take? It's apparently not much, because guys all the time retire and end up dying. Not that they're killing themselves necessarily, but they're dying of boredom or something. I don't know what it is. You got to stay engaged. You got to have something to keep you pushing you forward. Why get out of bed in the morning? I mean, why? I wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning. I can't even sleep anymore. What am I going to do? Lay there and milk it? Just get up and have some coffee, right? Got to do something. Try to keep up with these young bucks. You're never going to pass them by, but at least you can kind of grab on their coattails and try to hang on for the ride a little bit. It keeps you young. I mean, I can't tell you enough. Get off your butt and do something. I don't care what it is. Volunteer at the pet shelter. I don't care. Get out of your house, go do something. I mean, I don't care what you do. Do something. Help society. Give back a little bit. Get out there and love people. Do something for them. So.
Oh, it's a great point, Tex, because a lot of what you're doing to become better and stronger is not just about you, right? It's not a selfish reason. And I think when the men you were just speaking of, who have no more meaning, they don't have a career that they're attached to, they become selfish, right? Everything's just about them, right? The world revolves around them. And I think if you can find meaning, whatever that is, right? If you're, like you said, go help somebody. But I think that's where the grandfather role plays a big part, right? Knowing that how you carry yourself, how you take care of yourself, it's going to affect and have a great influence on your grandchildren. So that should be enough motivation to drive you forward every day.
And it is a little selfish, though. It is. It's okay to be a little selfish every now and then, right? Taking care of yourself is nothing wrong with that. I've had people bitch at me that I'm too selfish, that I'm spending too much time taking care of myself, basically. I just laugh at them. Who's going to do it if I don't? Who's going to take care of me if I don't, right? I told my wife the other day, I said, what do you think I'm getting strong for? Stronger. I'm like, no. I said, one of these days I'm going to have to pick you up and carry you from the bathtub to the bed. I said, do you want me to have to call hospice or call some, health agency or somebody to come pick you up out of the bathtub because I can't do it? I said, that's where we're headed one day. One of us is going to be feeble, and it ain't going to be me. I'm serious. I want to be able to take care of myself. And the day I can't, I'll tell you the same thing my dad told me. The day I can't take care of myself, cock the 45, put it in my hand, and close the door and leave. Okay, that's what my old man told me one time. And as he was dying of cancer, and they were talking about all these miraculous things they were going to try to do to try to pull him through it and all that, and he was gone. He was eaten up inside. And he just looked at me. He said, "Remember what I said?" I'm like, yeah. You know, and he died probably a week later. But you know, it was just eating up. But I don't want to be that guy, man. That's selfish. I don't want to be there. I definitely want to be on my own terms on that kind of stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're ever in that position where you do have to carry your wife, I want to make sure that you hand her a 45-pound plate and you don't take the easy way. Let her hold that.
If you're not pulling a sled as you're carrying her, you're not even fucking trying.
Do you even lift, bro?
Not anymore. Nah.
Yeah, no. I tell you what, I can carry her all the time right now if I want to. Some great memories involved there. Just leave it at that.
So let me ask you this:
Yeah,
how do you, with your peers? You know, and when I say peers, I'm talking your age bracket.
Yeah.
Because we operate almost. Not even almost. We operate daily. Daily, I'm speaking to you about something in some point, either in the fraternity, a text, a phone call, or just an interaction on Twitter. We are interacting every day. And so I'm turning 35. You're turning 61. I'm learning a shit ton of life lessons from you. I absorb every time you speak. So like, hey, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this. I'm watching it through you. And that's freaking great. You know, I say the same with Anthony because his kids are a little older than mine. So I'm seeing like, all right, try this, skip this, try that, skip that. Awesome. I'm learning a lot. But the side to side interaction too, those are just as important. There's a lot of men I speak to on Twitter. We had the dad Twitter guys on. A lot of those guys, their kids are younger than mine, but some of theirs are the same age. And so we're kind of transferring information sideways, not up or down, but just, hey, try this with your kid because this worked with mine. Does that happen at your level? Are you and the squad that you roll with? I don't want to say, you know, you guys had the gray wave. There was a group of you that were just crushing it, you know, absolutely crushing it on Twitter. But I'm talking like in your real life day to day, not just Twitter.
Yeah.
How are your associates? Are they having that same mindset, or are they daydreaming about retirement and 2 more years, 5 more years, whatever? I'm just going to sit in a beach.
Unfortunately, I got a lot of acquaintances that are my age that are soft, and you know, I don't consider them equals. That's kind of the reality of it. There's some guys my age in FOE, you know, and there's some guys that I know on Twitter that are my age that are absolute equals, or if not, you know, past me. And we look at each other sometimes and we just like, it's just common sense. This is just common sense. How do they not know this? How do they not know this is the way the world is? It's just common sense. And so it's like our mission in life is to like inject a little more common sense into the younger generation. And it's like, oh, you guys are like gurus. You guys are like, you know, sitting on a top of a Buddhist temple or something on a mountain somewhere. It's like, no.
You get one question. Climb the mountain, you can ask one question.
Okay. So I don't know, man. It's just like, it's just common sense. We just laugh. We're like, we just beat Darwin so far. You know, we made it so far, you know?
Yeah. But how do you pull yourself above that? And again, I'm thinking more about the man. I know you. Yeah. I'm not really asking you. The dude watching this, he might be the 60-year-old with a bunch of other 60-year-olds and they don't do shit. So he's like, why should I? You know, but you're doing it. You're the ripped up dude, even though you're in a group of people who aren't getting ripped up. Why are you different? What about you is making you rise up while other people stay the same? There's something there. And there are a lot of people who want that, but they don't know what that something is or where to find that something inside themselves.
It's going to sound cliche. We talk about finding a mission all the time in our space. And you got to have some sort of mission in life and whatever that might be. And when you get to this age, a lot of that mission might, or should, I think, revolve around helping people that are younger than yourself, helping people that may not necessarily have to step in all those potholes you stepped in. So if you can try to help them out a little bit, and mentoring's a big deal. And I get guys reach out to me, I need a mentor. Well, okay, well, that's cool. You can join FOE. There's a whole bunch of guys in there that can. I tell them I do most of my mentoring is within the walls of FOE because those guys are serious and they're after it, and that's, you know, that feeds me.
What was that text? FOE. Let me write that down.
Yeah, that's the something like that.
You should have seen year one FOE, the mentorship offered by Tex, because he'd been in groups, he'd seen a lot, leadership. There was a lot of times I'm like, dude, how do I'm not used to online groups. I'm used to very in-person groups. There is a different dynamic. I'm like, bro, like, what am I not doing? Hey man, try this. Don't do that. I've seen people do that. It doesn't work that way. Go this way. Oh, thanks, dude. Let me go this way.
My favorite question was, did I just fumble fuck this thing?
That's sometimes you need a mentor. I had a mentor, man.
That was a long time ago.
I needed it. You were there. So when they say pass it on, like that helped me personally very much, and there's no words I can put to how appreciative I am, because I didn't know and I needed that guidance.
It's one of these things. I mean, why are we on this planet? You get real philosophical, right? I mean, why are you here? Why are we here? Why are we doing all this stuff? Why? Just to get to the end, the finish line, which is a pine box 6 feet under. I've been digging real deep in the last year or two on the spiritual side. And I guess as you get older, that's a casualty of war, right? The older you get, the more you start to figure out, is this whole God thing real or not? I might need to know this soon, right? I think we're put on this planet to love each other. And as gay as that sounds, it is what it is. I mean, you gotta.
That doesn't sound gay, man. Come on.
You gotta own
somebody out there going, no homo. No, we're put on this planet to love each other and to do things for each other, and that's where you get a lot of. I tell people all the time. I mean, you want to feel better about yourself, go help somebody else. Generally, their problems are way worse than yours. Number one, so you're going to feel pretty good about yourself after that. Secondly, you're going to get a satisfaction out of helping someone else who can't do anything for you in return. Right? You're not helping somebody because you're hoping to get a little favor so you can get a promotion at work or whatever. No, you're helping somebody because they need help. And you feel better about that yourself when you go to bed at night. And I think that's the key to being happy, is to helping other people. And people go out of their way to help you in return. And you don't do that to help other people so they can help you back. It's just what happens. And all of a sudden, everybody's trying to help each other out and try to do better things. Like having a real strong church family that believes in that kind of thing. Thank goodness we've found a great one, we think, right? But everybody's pulling together and trying to help each other out. And I think that's why we're here. And if you're sitting around and you're bored and you're old and you're thinking about retiring, you got nothing else to do, go find somebody to help. They're next door, they're across the street, they're in the other bedroom.
Yeah, to a degree, don't we as individuals have to be strong so we can help everybody out? Because if we're not, right, then that just becomes like a political party, right? Everybody's stealing from each other to benefit their own needs. So I think there needs to be, a standard, right, with who you bring into your life and the circles that you have, right? You want to have people who actually are strong enough to provide, strong enough to help, strong enough to offer you something. Then you'd be in a company of a lot of people who are always looking to take.
Yeah, I mean, you only have so many minutes of your day. You only have so much time. Time's a precious resource the older you get. And you have to choose who you're going to give that time to, right? I don't say you have to give it to everybody. Like you said, you can be real choosy with who you give your time to, but you got to give your time to somebody. You don't have to, but if you want to have a pretty happy life, helping other people is a good way of doing it. And I don't mean throwing money at people. I mean, just being there for them and trying to talk them off the ledge every now and then, type of thing. I get a lot of acquaintances here in town. I mean, I got a lot of guys I've known for 30 years, and they're just acquaintances. They're not like really good friends. I used to say, I got all these friends. Man, I've gotten a little choosier about who I call a friend these days. I'm real choosy about that. It actually means a whole lot more to me now than it did. But yeah, you don't want to be, it's being strong, I mean, come physically or mentally or spiritually or whatever. Yeah, I mean, that strength radiates. People are attracted to it. And it could be, again, spiritual strength. It could be whatever. Physical strength. People are just attracted to it, man. They either want not what you have, but they just want to try to figure out how you got there or who you really are. There's some sort of a charismatic quality that people it's like a magnet, man. They come at you and they just want to be there. They don't necessarily want anything. They just want to be in the same area and hanging out. That's what I'm finding these days.
No, I think that's great. Because it also highlights the fact that you put your mask on first, king eats first, take care of you so you can help others. If your cup's overflowing, you can share with. There's a lot of ways to say this, but there's one thing that's often overlooked. Let's say we have a person who's overweight, mid-20s, whatever. They're fat, and they want to go to the gym, but they're insecure because people will judge them. When it comes to people who are older, it's the double whammy. Not only are you overweight and you have to overcome that to go into the gym, but you're older. And so you're supposed to have your shit together. You're supposed to be locked in. And yet I see you asking advice from people who are younger than you without having any issue. I think that's a hurdle inside some older gentlemen's heads, that I'm supposed to know this because of my age. And I'm ashamed to ask a younger man for help about how to lift weights. Something like that. How did you, I mean, maybe you did have an issue with this. Since I've known you, I have not experienced it.
Yeah.
You just asked me if you want to know something from me, even though I'm younger. I ask you shit. That's supposed to be normal. But you asking me, you're not supposed to do that. Says who? If you don't know the thing, you don't know the thing. It doesn't matter if it's coming from a 20-year-old or a 99-year-old.
I think you got the basic premise wrong to start with. I think expecting somebody that's 60 to have their shit dialed in.
I'm not saying that's my expectation. That's what they
think.
think.
No. I'm just saying that should be the case, except everywhere I look, there's 60-year-old people that don't have their shit dialed in at all. Not even close, right? As far as thinking you know it all is always a trap, right? Thinking, oh, I've made it this far. And listen, I know enough to know that I don't know nothing, right? So when it came time to figuring out how to eat right, I'm 50 something years old at that point in my life. I've been, trying intermittent fasting, trying all these fad things, trying all these things, and dropping some weight. And I'm not doing it long term. Getting the help of somebody that knows what they're talking about. I don't care what age they are.
How did you get to that point though? How did you go to that where you felt comfortable asking somebody younger for help on how to eat?
Sucking up your pride a little bit. I don't know. How did I get there? I wanted it bad enough that I didn't care who I had to ask or who I needed help from to get there. I don't care who it is. If they've got the knowledge and they've got the skill set and they can help me, I'm not going to let somebody being younger bother me. I had a guy one time, it was my new boss, and he was like 20 years younger than me. And he was like, "Is that a problem for you?" I'm like, "No, why? Is that a problem for you?" I mean, it doesn't bother me. You're in a management role. I would never want to be there. That's just not my thing, right? I would never want that job. I got the worst job in the company. I feel sorry for him, but I don't let age doesn't bother me. I mean, my son still helps. He's 31. My son helps me with stuff that I don't know. I was first working out. I was at the gym with him. Like, how do I do a Roman, what the hell's this thing called? A Roman dip or pull? Or he's like, "Dad, you're going to break your back. Stop it." I was bending straight over. He's like, "Don't do that. You got to bend your knees," And so he's in there schooling me up on how to lift weights because he played football and he had good strength training coaches and he understood how to do all this stuff. I didn't crush my ego to ask somebody younger for me for some help. I'd rather do that than throw out a disc in my back.
So not only did you not die from asking somebody younger for advice or education, but you also lived better.
Yeah, man. People are getting too caught up with age. They really are.
They do. They really do.
Yeah, I mean, I take advice from a lot of guys that are a lot younger. Pretty much the older you get, everybody else is younger than you anyway. The older you get, you start burying all your friends. Everybody's going to be younger than you at some point, pretty much. You might as well go ahead and deal with that now. Get used to having friends that are younger. I literally have no issues with it whatsoever. It doesn't bother me at all. I know what I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. There's just a whole lot out there I've learned over the years that I just don't have a clue about. Where am I going to find help?
Have you ever gotten any good advice from your grandkids?
Oh man.
We'll take it to the extreme.
No, not yet. We're not quite there just yet.
Nothing like don't eat this booger or
my middle
definitely
grandson,
eat that booger.
my middle grandson wrote a English paper this past year on the different kind of farts that there are out there.
See, here we go. It's better than that.
And this English teacher graded it and put comments on it and handed it back to him. I got to see the original piece. Pretty amazing.
When they called you about the Hex bar, could you hear in their voice the excitement?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How did that make you feel?
It made me feel good, just because I knew that they were into it, and I knew it was a good decision, and I knew it wouldn't just sit there and collect dust. So,
did you learn in that moment that the example that you were setting, they're literally watching and they're embodying it because they're like, hey, the one you have, we have. They knew you had that. They were aware you had it and you used it. I think that's
You
teaching
sent them an
something too.
80-pound hex bar?
No, actually, I sent them the lighter weight with the little 45-pound ones.
Yep, that's what real men use. It's 52 pounds, okay?
Yeah, the one on Amazon for $99. That one. Nah,
I think they actually make a like a 15-pound aluminum one. That's gigantic.
Anthony
like the
knows
North
this.
Carolina.
That's
model,
what he uses.
That's the one I use.
That's South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
So when we're going through there and you have your grandkids watching you do this, is there ever any issue with sort of your message and their parents' message? Like the way you eat, the way you work out. I'm not saying like not religion, politics. I'm saying the way that the lifestyle that you live. Are they seeing like, well, grandpa or our papa, he lifts weight and says, eat like this. And we go home and you're saying, we can have a snack or we don't have to work out today. Or is that, and I'm not, again, I don't know the parents, but I'm saying maybe somebody else is also facing that. Like, hey, I'm trying to lock my shit in. Maybe the kids they're too busy with work or something. And so the kids aren't getting that there. And the kids are using you against the parent.
You can talk all day long, but your actions are going to be what they're going to emulate. And just keep living your life and keep setting a positive example. You can't control what mom and dad do. You can't control it. You can give advice when asked. You can ask mom and dad some probing questions, like, kind of church you guys going to these days? That kind of stuff. I want to know, right? I have the right to ask that question. They have the right to tell me to piss off, as well. But I don't know. You just set the example, and hopefully the kids figure it out. And you try and see. And not only, but I'm also setting the example for my daughter and my former son-in-law. Mm-hmm. He sends me pictures of him doing some kind of jerk clean, 10-second video thing. Yeah, whatever they call it. Just a jerk. But no, he's seeking approval as well. Okay. He'll never see this, so I can say that. He lost his dad about 8 years ago, and he just lost his mom. God bless her, recently. And so like he told me one time, guys, hope this never gets viewed by anybody that really knows me. He's like, man, he goes, I just want you to know.
You don't have to say whatever you're about to say.
No, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. He told me, the worst part of getting divorced is I'm not your son-in-law anymore. And
Open rock, destroying families.
He goes, I really miss hanging out with you. I'm like, yeah, man, we had some good times. I'm not a real fan of how he left the marriage, so he knows he's never going to get over that one with me. However, I think I'm trying to set the bar for him as well. Because if he sees me out there doing 400-pound deadlifts and stuff, maybe he's going to try and keep up with that. And who's going to benefit from that the most? It's going to be the 3 kids, right? So,
we live in an age. There's a lot that goes against male relationships, and that fractures the male hierarchy. But you said something. You said that he'll send you those videos for approval. Do you think, as the chief of your tribe, he's sending you those to let you know that he's doing the steps required for him to take your mantle? And it's not approval as much as showing you receipts that I'm doing the work you're saying you've done to get to where you are, and I want to sit in your seat someday.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
Damn, you just brushed that one to the side. Okay.
No.
Next question.
I would say if he was still part of my family formally, then I would say, yeah, maybe so. But the fact is, he's no longer part of my nuclear family. He's still the father of my grandsons. I still like him. I still want to interact with him, and I still want to have full communications with him, because I want to know where my grandsons are living and what's going on. I want to know where his head's at. And when he's thinking about starting a Glock one day, I hope he calls me, but is he trying for my mantle? I don't really know. I probably not him. I think my own son might be eyeballing that particular seat, and I hope he is. I pray he is. But he's still got to get married. He's still got to have kids first. He's got to go through some hoops to get there. But yeah, I just think the son-in-law thing, he wants to show me that he's not a pussy. That's what it's kind of boiling down to. Call it what it is. He wants to show me that he's still working out. We talked, because trust me, when he was still part of my nuclear family, he was going to CrossFit. We were talking about gym stuff, and I was losing weight and getting back in shape because you saw the orange picture, the orange shirt picture we always laugh about when I was really hefty. He was standing next to me, 10 feet over. He wasn't part of that particular shot, but he was there. So he was fully aware of where I went from and where I got to. And so he was along a similar journey of being overweight and getting in better shape. So you're right. He's showing me receipts. He's showing me that he's still checking in and he's still doing the work and he's still trying to get better. That part I do agree with. Maybe that's not an approval thing, but it's in some weird level. I think it is. But like I said, he is who he is, and he's raising my grandsons pretty good. I can't control the politics. I can't control the level of woke in the house, but at least I think he's being a good dad. And I think that's probably the most important thing, Kids are happy. How's that? No,
good.
Kids are happy, right? That's the ultimate
go wrong
judge.
with that.
That's what matters.
That's the ultimate litmus test. I mean, since they all moved into the same town and they all have shared custody, the kids are happy. They have mom and dad in the same town. That's a win. Good grades, good behavior, lots of activities, lots of scouting, lots of after school stuff, lots of sports. Happy. That's a win. Even if they are way too far away from me, that's okay. Kids are winning.
As these kids grow, it's interesting. I think of it like a coach, and I'm going to say life coach, but not like the ones that you pay for, just like the one that has nothing but wisdom to offer in life. It's like you, as a youth sports coach, I have these kids for a limited amount of time. And in that window, I'm in charge. It's one of those rare moments where not dad, but another man is telling your kid what to do. And with a grandfather, I see that in the same light is where when you get the grandkids, yeah, you have a dad, but right now you're under grandpa or you're under papa. And I'm going to teach you some shit. I'm going to show you some things. And, you were talking about like, hey, here's how it works here. Here are the guidelines and the buoys we're operating within, but you're also passing things on. And I wonder how many of those seeds, as you're planting them, it's going to get watered over the years and they're going to sprout. And when these kids are teens and up, and as they're getting older and they're growing, they're going to come back to you. Do you remember when you said that? And you're like, damn, I didn't even know you were listening,
Yeah, I coached my son's friends a lot when they were younger, same age as Coda is right now. I was coaching all the time. And I still run into those guys now, right, on occasions of holidays and stuff. And there's still that not camaraderie. There's just still that level of respect. And there's still a genuine, sometimes they'll thank me for something that I forgot about completely. But you're right. It's like coaching those kids. It's kind of like what you're doing now. What I'm doing now with the grandsons, because you're right. It's that one period of time where I'm kind of in charge of what we're doing. Because when we're out fishing or whatever, my daughter's not there. So it's just me and them doing whatever we're doing, or we're out boogie boarding, or we're over at the pool, or whatever we're doing at the time. Driving golf carts into stationary objects, that kind of thing. Someone's got to teach them how to do that. So yeah, I'm teaching them how to drive, that kind of stuff.
What's interesting is it's not just these grandkids that are winning. How many men inside FOE have been like, you're passing me lessons that my father never gave me, my grandfather never gave me, because you just have more experience than us. You've lived longer. And so you have more to tell, more things you've seen. And now you're doing it because you've chosen to be public. Your choice, not only to speak publicly, but to continue to speak publicly. You did the speeches on stages. You've been invited to events. You mix it up with men there on that platform, but you also in person. I've done this in private, like FOE events, having your own little community, doing it there. You've got your work, and you shared a few stories about how you worked with some guys and helped them kind of like, well, hey, look at you. I haven't seen you in a few months or a few years. You're looking great. Hey, here's what I'm doing. And all of a sudden dude's like, all right, maybe I got to tighten my shit up. So it's not just your grandkids who are winning because you're choosing to live like this. You've chosen to be more open and kind of like a youth sports coach where, yeah, I'm coaching my son plus 11 others. You're raising your grandkids, but by being that, embodying those values and making yourself available publicly, you're helping your community. You're helping other people. Are going to look at you and they're going to see maybe themselves differently. At least that's my hope. Because when I see dudes who are walking around with some gray in the beard, but they're jacked, I'm like, that's what's up. that dude is still getting after it, and that gives me hope, man.
Yeah, I lose sight of that sometimes, and I'm becoming less public as the days go by, and I lose sight of some of that every now and then. It's nice to hear it. I appreciate the compliment there. I know right now I run into people right now, and they go, "How old are you?" I'm like 60. Like, Jesus, really? I'm like, yeah. Like they don't see it. And I think I look old as hell, when I look in the mirror. But some of these people, I guess, are not. They're not seeing that, Setting an example that it's okay to be strong, not just strong physically, but strong spiritually and strong emotionally. I gotta set that bar, man. And I don't feel like I'm helping people all the time. But maybe I'm helping them by just not saying anything, just living your life. It's all about setting an example, and sometimes I'm better at it than others. But yeah, I mean, I want to help. I really, truly, truly want to help, and I got to find those outlets. And that's one of the things I like about FOE is because walls are closed. I don't have media prying in. I can say what I want to say, and people can challenge me on it, and I hope they do. But at the same time, we all shake hands when it's all said and done, and keep going down the line somewhere. I'm becoming less and less public is what I guess my point is trying to make. I'm writing less, but I'm living more. Does that make sense? I'm doing more locally.
On me. 2 times now I've been dunked on live.
It makes sense. Perfect sense, Tex. I hear you. Even
no, man. I'm not trying to dunk on you, man. You can take that however you want. I'm just saying.
Sometimes he only hears what he wants, so don't even worry about it.
I don't know. It's a young bucks, What are you gonna do?
Young. Thank you.
I don't know. Man, I don't know. I mean, I've enjoyed the public stuff, right? But then I also realize at the end of the day, it's not quite as important as the relationships that I've made. Even though a lot of them are online, we still get together and do stuff. Those are the relationships I value the most. You go to do a speaking event or something, it's the guys in the room that you're talking to during and afterwards and smoking a cigar with and that kind of thing. I mean, that's the people I want to hang out with. I could care less whether it hits YouTube or not these days. It was the ego stroke at first. Oh yeah, man, great. I got a video up. Oh, that's cool. After a while, it's like, yeah, okay. I had a great time at that conference. I had a great time in Vegas, man. We're hanging out by the pool and smoking cigars and pipes and, just bullshitting and having fun. And the crazy black ladies that walked up.
Oh, dude, I was wondering if you're going to bring it up.
Dude, it was hilarious. They were funny, man. I loved them. And Phil messing with them. And I mean, that's what I remember about. You talk about doing speeches and being public and all. That's the stuff I remember. Hanging out with Anthony on a Sunday morning, smoking in a casino.
Yeah,
I mean, where else are you going to get that?
I blacked out after the speech, so I don't remember anything.
No, man. Like I said, it's becoming less public is not a bad thing. That's all. I mean, I think focusing. Let's rephrase that. Focusing the efforts in places where I can make a difference. How's that?
I'll meet you in the middle.
That's good. We're going to pump this shit everywhere as hard as we can forever.
Just so you know, this is going on YouTube and this is going to go everywhere. And we're going to strip the shit out of that ego.
No, man. I don't think I'm coming across right on this one. I still like doing some YouTube videos here and there. I'm having fun with that here and there, but it's not the sole reason to exist. I got so much going on right now. It's a great thing. It's a great problem to have. I'm busy. So.
Yeah, you could tell them to fuck off, Tex. It's cool.
It's much more direct. The content, we would have just saved ourselves 5 minutes of just dancing around and just say the fucking thing, man. We will never have this thing monetized. I swear way too much. And every time we try to post anything where I don't swear, we get fucking banned anyway because we talked about a topic that was too controversial, like stop hitting your kids, stop, start paying attention to make sure no pedophiles touch them, and don't vaccinate them.
Experimental medication.
Yeah, our videos keep getting fucking ripped off the shelves. So
yeah,
it is what it is.
You can't insult pedophiles these days. You just can't.
They're not pedophiles. They're minor attracted people. That's what I was told.
Yeah.
No, Tex. If I got your point clearly,
please.
I think sometimes it doesn't matter where your message goes or who perceives it. It's the greatest influence is how you're living your life, how you're taking care of yourself, and what you're doing in that moment. Right? There's always people watching, whether it's your friends, your family, and even your grandkids. And I think that's, to me, that's the lesson I got from what you just said, right? Taking care of yourself and doing good things, living a good life. It's going to influence people, whether you want to or not. Or I could be wrong.
No, you're right.
Oh, he's right.
I have. Hang on a minute. I'm fixing to cut his knees out. Give me a second. I think that I want to circle back. It's just one thing. I've been doing a big time inner deep dive in the last year, and trying to figure out what's important to me and where I want to take my life. Okay. And as far as what I'm doing online, what I'm doing in FOE, what I'm doing here locally, those are important questions to reassess. And where can I make the best impact? Where can my time be spent the most? I love being on shows like this because there's no work to do. I come in here and BS with you guys for an hour, and then I'm going off back into my life again. You guys are having to do the post-production. You're having to do the marketing. You're having to put the stuff out there. That's the work part. This is the fun part. It's like killing a deer, man. Everybody can take the shot. That's what you do afterwards, right? That's the work.
I literally just show up like you.
It's not even kidding.
Yeah, I can see that.
I gotta give props to Zac.
I can see that. No, I'm just saying I think if you're not questioning what you're doing and you're not questioning where you're putting your time on a continual basis and reevaluating, then you're probably messing up. Just figure out what's important and where you can make the most impact. And that's what I'm trying to do right now. I've started to do some more locally that I haven't done prior because I never had an outlet prior to where I could do some things I felt locally to be able to find a group that I could have some synergy with. And now I found one, which is pretty cool. And so I can have an impact there. And I like what I'm doing in FOE. It's important to me. I like the camaraderie. I like having all these friends. I got all these guys that are all pushing each other to get better. And that day I don't want to go out and pull the stuff out from the garage into the driveway. I get online and I see, Jerry cranking out, heavy punching bag at 5 a.m. I'm like, I can't let that guy beat me, that kind of thing. Right. So I'm just putting my time into the places where they're going to hopefully have some payback, some payoff, that kind of thing. I'm rambling, but
no, it's good. There's a quote I heard, and this is one of the things that kind of tripped me out about aging. I was an older man, and he said, the hardest part, whenever, I was growing older, I had it. And the hardest part in the time that I realized that I was a little concerned about growing older is when I started to realize that the world stopped looking at me as being dangerous. Ooh. And he said he's like, I got too old to where nobody feared me anymore. He's like, and as a man, you have that for a long time and you don't even realize that that's a thing. People just recognize you're a man, you're capable of violence. But when you're an old little man and you're bent over and you're hurting, then you're like, fuck, like nobody's scared of me. And he said he had to find a way. And what he did is he went to, I believe it was Stoicism. I think it was a Rear Admiral Stockdale that led me down this path. But he was talking about, I can't control that I'm going to die, but I'm still alive. And while they may not fear me, I can leave legacies to build the men behind me to be even stronger, to command more power within their lives and to go forward and just to own themselves and never have anybody try to flex on them or control them. And he was talking about the transition. You're not there, but you're making yourself extremely strong now that you're going to go much further and be much more capable of violence for much longer. And I don't know if you've ever looked at it from that angle. No. Because it's not like you're sitting there running around like a ninja. You're not like with Mr. Swift or the full spectrum warrior guys like shooting through trees like ninjas and shit. What I'm saying is you're strong and mobile. You're able to act quick without blowing your back out. And that makes you a dangerous man still. And why does that have to end at 60? Why does that end at 80?
The part that I just immediately went back to, I jumped back 20 years and I wasn't dangerous at 40. I was fat and out of shape. And my biggest danger to somebody would have been tripping over them and breaking their leg or falling on them and just crushing them or something, right? So I wasn't dangerous. I was dangerous in my mid-20s. And then I lost all that. Now, am I dangerous now? I can shoot a pistol pretty well. I mean, I can handle myself okay. I'm certainly intimidating as fuck. I get that all the time. I got people tell me that, you're a nice guy. I didn't know that. I'm like, yeah, they're just like, we talk about people being scared of you. The other day we were having that conversation internally. And it's not that you just put off this. I'm giant. I'm 6'4" and I weigh 240, and and my shoulders are wider than my waist, and that intimidates the living hell out of a lot of men and a lot of women as well. So is that dangerous? I guess I don't know. But I'm glad to be here where I'm at right now versus where I was at 40. I'm a whole lot happier now. I respect myself now. I didn't respect myself back then. Can't expect anybody else to respect me if I don't respect myself.
That's very true. Now, for those who want to connect, those who enjoy what it is you've been saying, what if you're not being public? Where can they find you? Since I got shit on for that one, do they write letters?
Man,
watch this episode. Box? That's it.
Man,
is it carrier pigeons? How should they send you their letters?
Oh man, letters. Who's actually written a letter lately? Come on.
All the people trying to reach you.
Yeah, the same guy that sends a hex bar for Christmas. No, man. TexasDom.com is my website. I don't post on there as much as I should. I've been trying to get back a little bit to that. I've been doing some YouTube thing, youtube.com/TexasDom, TEXASDOM. I've been doing some maybe a little more political stuff than I probably should be doing. Just real life shit here and there. I call my channel Radio Free Texas, and that's kind of just a play on words. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm there. I'm in FOE. I'm on Twitter, Texas Dom 1. I'm pretty hard to not find. I'm just not on Twitter as much as I have been. I don't pay as much attention, but I do answer DMs. If somebody's got a question or an email or whatever, I always reply. So unless it's some thought that's asking me, hey, what up? And she's like 30 with giant boobs sticking out all over her profile pic, I just block her.
Come on. Now, what about the grandfather who's reaching out to you? What about the man who's on the fence right now and he's like, shit, this whole episode you've been talking to me. I'm 55 years old. My kids are out. I'm a grandfather, but I did let my weight slide. I did let my relationship slide. I did let my self-respect slide. And here you are going against all of those things. How do I get to you? Where do I start getting to you?
Find me on Twitter. Like I said, hit me up with DM, TEXASDOM1, number side 1. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. My emails and all that stuff they're all over the place. TexasDom1 at Gmail. I mean, it's pretty easy to get. I mean, everything's pretty consistent. Join FOE if you're in that spot. I know it's a shameless plug, man, but I'm telling you, if you want to improve your life, you can do it with a bunch of kick-ass mofos that are at various different ages. Some guys older than me, but we're all trying to get down the path together, shoulder to shoulder. If you need a little motivation, a little kick in the butt, that's certainly a group that'll help you get there. And if you get in that group and decide you don't want to participate, you don't want to improve, you probably won't be in the group very long. If you're really serious about your health and fitness, philfosterfitness.com. Can't highly praise him enough. It's been a game changer for me. Absolutely, man. Just a game changer. Man knows what he's talking about. And if you'll do the work, he'll set it up for you. You still got to do the work. But I mean, it's quit stalling, quit finding excuses why you're going to wait till March to get started. Start now. Get up, go walk around the block. I don't care how cold it is. Go walk a little bit. Do something, move, start eliminating bad food choices, start eliminating shit from your diet. Simple steps, little stuff, but you'll start feeling better about yourself in the first couple of days, man. And it's all about, you start feeling good about yourself, and it builds and it builds and it builds, and where it becomes like an addiction, that you want that feeling about feeling good about yourself. And you want that more than the booze or the pills or the sugar. You want that feeling of satisfaction that you're doing something, that you're making a difference, that you're happy with what you see in the mirror, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually as well. But you got to take a step. The first step's the hardest. Get off the couch and go do something now. While you're watching this, turn it off. We're done. Go do something.
That's well said. Tex, thank you for your time. Appreciate you coming on.
Anytime I can come slam dunk you for a while, Zach, it's good, man. Just bring me back.
there's
it's
a
easy,
photo of
Tex.
us. We were at a convention, and it's literally I'm like this, except I'm just looking at Tex, and he's like, "What's up, little buddy? Fuck you."
Nah, man, this will be the only time I'm ever on Oak and Rock. So, good to be here.
Good talking to you, Tex. Thank
It
you.
won't be your last time.
Tree and Stone. What was it?
Tree and Stone. That's good enough.
Yeah.
Anthony, another one down, brother.
Yes, sir. Always good seeing you, Tex. Thank you.
You're welcome. I
Thanks for your
enjoy
time, man. Appreciate it.
I enjoy being here. I like the shirt you got on. Life is good.
Yeah.
Representing.
I mean, even though I see you every Sunday, but it's always good talking to you.
Absolutely. Glad to be here, guys.
For everybody
Thanks
that
for having me.
tuned in, we're going to break up the moment these two are having. Make sure you've liked, subscribed, spread the good word, and especially if you're a man who's in the older stages of life, you maybe your grandfather or maybe you're heading in that direction, it's not too late. Get yourself started and get rocking. Again, we are counting on you. When I say we're, I'm saying everybody else, because who are we supposed to learn from? Men that get themselves together and continue to push. Don't quit on yourself. Age is a number, but your mindset, you can stay focused until the grave. And the aim there is to leave behind a bunch of loved ones and a beautiful corpse. Nothing's going to stop you from doing that except for you. So get after it. You've heard from Tex, and I like his response. Well, what do they do if they have a question? You message him. He'll tell you how he did it. Where do you start? You start by asking the question. And I would say that goes before the action that you take. You could get the mentorship. So you know all right, I start the walk. Hey, Tex, did you go to the gym? Did you do this? How did your body feel? How was recovery? He can answer all of those questions from something he lived, not something that he read in a book. This isn't about theory. And again, big shout out to Phil Foster. All three of us are part of that program. Check that out. And if you want the accountability, go to Fraternity of Excellence. There are a lot of opportunities, but now the ball's in your court. You've got to make a decision. This has been another episode on Oak and Rock Fatherhood. I hope to see you around.